Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life.
Hi, everybody. It's Beth Almaris with the Foundation for Family and Community Engagement. We're a nonprofit that's really passionate about helping individuals and organizations build strength and resilience through skill-based education and leadership development. We have a great guest for you today. Welcome Mark Graham, who is the VP of Development at HeartShare St. Vincent Family Services. How are you doing today, Mark?
Doing great. Just trying to stay dry. It's rainy. It's a nice rainy day here in New York City.
Yes. Yeah, we had the rain this morning here in DC, and now we got the sun.
Yeah, hopefully it's good weather for the 4th of July weekend. So just looking forward to that.
Yeah. So can you tell folks about your organization?
Well, I currently work at HeartShare St. Vincent and Family Services. We've been around for 150 years. We provide a ecosystem of support for over 8,000 children, youth, and families each year. We mainly serve folks who are experiencing family separation, poverty, and mental health illnesses. And we have a variety of services. We have foster care support, our foster care services, mental health clinics, preventative services, as well as housing and educational support for youth.
Wow. So real
And I,
wraparound services.
yeah, and I actually got into this work. It's funny, I used to work in the music industry, and then when I left the music industry, I left because I wanted to do more community centric work. So I decided to get in 2010 to work as a social worker, as a foster care case planner, and that was like my introduction to foster care work. And when I started, I actually fell in love with the work. I actually started a nonprofit that connected foster youth with young professionals in the entertainment industry,
Oh,
just so
wow.
they can experience different or have exposure to different career opportunities. And that was like my introduction to fundraising. But I always had a heart for the foster youth. I actually grew up with or with friends in the system, so like it really do hold dear in my heart.
Yeah, that's amazing. What an incredible story.
Well, thank
Not
you.
one we hear often, leaving something like the music industry to work in.
Yeah, and I was actually fresh out of college, so it was an interesting transition, but I don't regret anything. I learned so much working in the music industry, especially just to have that innovation, that hustle, and just to be able to convert those skills into the nonprofit sector. It's definitely helped me a lot.
Yeah. So how many folks work at your organization?
We actually, sir, we have about over 600
Wow.
people. We actually work all over the city. We
Hmm.
Yeah, so we have homes all across the city. We have different clinics, and yeah, we currently have about over 600 um, employees here.
That's amazing. So as an organization, you're really working on the kind of the health and well-being of your clients. What do you do as an organization for your employees for their own health and well-being?
It's funny because we actually do have we have a great HR department. They provide wellness check-ins. We have access to um, our mental health staff, but we have a great benefit package, and they always tell us to access those mental health services. We do have monthly retreats where we could connect and just to have that safe space to decompress, especially now how in this climate we're living in right now.
Yeah, it's quite a climate.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I imagine just the need for services as people lose their jobs, and that can
yeah.
lead to housing issues. I imagine the need for services is just continuing to go up.
Absolutely, and especially during fundraising, I think it's a unique time to do fundraising. A lot of
Hmm.
organizations, especially I actually work with a few organizations, and just to see how quick they were, like in 2021, they were flooded with funding, and then now. all of that was removed. You have corporations that's refusing to fund different organizations, and because of that, I'm trying to do more of an anti-capitalistic approach to fundraising, where I'm focusing more on community-centric fundraising, building actual relationships, and having advocates at these institutions that understand the work. Because I it really just amplified the the point that you can't really take any type of money. You have to actually have some sort of integrity when it comes to fundraising, and I think this is actually a benefit because it helps us diversify funding. Like, instead of focusing on these mental major institutions, we're actually building relationships with folks in the community that could give, or advocates at other organizations that could probably be longtime partners in this work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly forcing, regardless of what your focus area is,
Yeah,
it's certainly forcing the nonprofit industry to really pivot,
yeah,
diversify, have a greater mix
absolutely.
of funding, but also you said partnerships, and I think that's incredibly important. I think there's so much we can all do together. I know
Yeah,
funders really love to fund partner based um, proposals. I think they see the benefit of helping two organizations, like kind
yeah,
of getting more for their investment dollars, because that's what they're
yeah,
doing with all of us, right? When they
yeah.
fund us, they're investing their capital in our projects.
Absolutely. And I feel like also I'm based in New York City, and there's so many corporations around us, and there's so many opportunities for funding, especially because most of these institutions have those CSR departments
Right.
where they have line items to give to the community. But the most important thing is that they need to feel engaged with the organization. So it's so important to be able to cultivate those relationships where we are providing some sort of volunteer opportunities, where we have some sort of that constant touch point with these folks so they could feel connected to the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And not everybody has those opportunities, so they're really important. Um,
Yes,
yeah, I mean, I think on some level, so many people have a heart to serve. They don't automatically know how to go about it, right? Like getting involved.
yeah. And I think, and that's why it's also important, especially on my end. As the VP of development, part of that work is to be able to be out in the community to increase visibility, to increase, like, develop cultivation touch points, or employee engagement or community engagement opportunities, so we could have those, build those relationships and build that rapport in the community.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's like, just being innovative, being able to um, invite folks to events, and also working doing social work. I find that a lot of our volunteer events, especially with our clients, the clients like to do it alongside with the corporations, so
Of
it doesn't
course.
feel like, so they could feel like they're doing stuff. So, like,
Yeah, I think that's really important. I've been in the nonprofit sector a long time, and especially for folks that are really marginalized or that have, benefited from services, that capacity to give back is so meaningful to them. And to be seen in their communities as givers and as, stewards of their community and not just recipients is
no,
incredibly
absolutely.
empowering.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, I also, one of the programs I work with is called ADP. So that's a program under, so basically it's foster care alumni, foster care students who are in middle school or in high school getting ready to graduate, and we provide them with coaching services, mentorship programming, and then also just post-secondary support services. And I find that a lot of those youth, they have the mindset of, they want to build these relationships with these corporations as well. So, like, building relationships with JP Morgan, the city, these institutions that could provide opportunities where our kids could go job shadow. I find that to be very helpful as well, because that also helps us build relationships with those corporations.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And hopefully helps, diversify their employee workforce
No,
down the
absolutely.
line, right? It's a win-win. Well, really great stuff. I'm really excited to hear about your all's mission and the work you're doing. Thanks so much for sharing. If folks want to know more, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
My first name, last name, so Mack, Mack.Graham, Graham @heartshare.org. I'm also on Instagram, Mack, Mack.Instagram, my last name.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. And then I also have a website, mackgraham.com. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mack, for your time. It was great meeting you and great talking to you. And thanks to our listeners. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.